back at it again, and we got one with Charlie Kirk. Let's dive in.
So I want to talk about like gun control.
Gun control.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
So I know, like, you know, we have a Second Amendment. We're like protected to owning like firearms.
Yes.
As a gay person, I often fear of like retaliation, hate crimes. I've actually been mugged a few times. Wearing stuff that may not seem as normal as this.
Okay.
What can like we do from like a Second Amendment perspective to like help bring more like gay people, LGBT people into like the folds of like gun ownership in order for like self-protection?
Yeah, I think that's a thoughtful question. I mean, look, I think, if you've been mugged and everything, like, I'm sorry that happened.
I think it lies in education. And I saw a young lady in the background. I don't know if you guys caught it. Where was it? Her shirt right here says, educate, don't mandate. And I think that's one of the main keys. Education. Gun ownership education. Some politicians want to make you believe that guns are extremely, extremely dangerous. If you set it on the table in front of you, it might go bang. Be careful, you know? And it's just like, no, bad people do horrible things with weapons. Bad people do the same thing with cars and other types of things that we use on a daily basis, knives and all sorts of things, hammers. You name it, bad people can find a way to use it in a way that it shouldn't be used. So, yeah, of course, in the hands of a bad person, yes, a gun is extremely, extremely dangerous. I think the key is education. A lot of people just aren't educated on firearms or firearm safety. And, you know, I don't know if this is a conspiracy theory, but I'm just going to put this out in the air. Do y'all feel like a lot of crazy stuff starts to happen around election times? I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to be a conspiracy theory. Maybe if somebody has any statistics on that, please let me know in the comment section. Please. But yeah, there's a fear factor. They play off people's fear. And I think education is the alternative to fear. Is how to fight back against that fear. It's just educating folks. If you set a weapon on the table in front of you, it's not going to do anything. It's not just going to go bang randomly. It's not going to hop up and decide, oh, you know what? He's dying today. No, that's not the way that works. And I feel like some people kind of think that. But I don't know. Y'all let me know. Let's get back to it.
Yeah, I think that's a thoughtful question. I mean, look, I think, if you've been mugged and everything, like, I'm sorry that happened to you. The gun's the great equalizer. Right?
Yeah.
And so
I've said that before. The great equalizer. And if you take our weapons away, we have no great equalizer. So you think criminals are going to hand their weapons in? Absolutely not. They're going to go on a rampage. Nobody on this city block has any weapons, but all of us do. Oh yeah, we are running up in every single house. Every single house. That's just common sense. I have a gun and nobody on the city block does. And there's nothing that can equal that. But that's what they want. They want chaos. I'm convinced.
I think that people like you need to speak up and be like, look, if you think you're going to be terrorized or you're going to be hunted, like, a gun is a moral right to be able to defend yourself and your liberty, right? And your family or your people you love. I suppose it'd be a better question for you, right? Like, what do you think that a majority of gay people are pro guns or anti? I'm just curious. Like,
mostly anti-gun.
Why do you think that is? I'm just curious.
I think it's a lot of like liberal identity politics. Kind of gets like co-opted like very like corporate pride, like I've seen like San Francisco and Berkeley and LA. So you kind of get like wrapped up in the very mainstream Democratic Party's like idea of like what good gun stewardship is. I have noticed though a lot more like trans people that I've met like are more likely to own guns, and then a few of my friends back home who are gay often like arm themselves, protect themselves, but like either from like a right or like a left perspective, like how can we like bridge that like disconnect?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that I don't think gun ownership should be political. I don't, and like this is one of the arguments I always make for like BLM people, right? It's like if you think you're getting hunted down, then like responsibly own guns, right? But there is a fear around gun ownership in America that, we go into it, but there's a massive gun control lobby that's trying to take firearms away, right? So, how you better communicate it to other, I don't know. Like, I think it should transcend, sexual persuasion or skin color, right? I think I think it's a moral right for all people, especially if you think, I mean, especially women who are, you know, potentially at a physical disadvantage from defending themselves, right? And I mean, you got mugged a couple times. I don't know if the person who mugged you is a man or a woman. I don't know, but like if you were in a situation where you're physically disadvantaged, like a firearm could equalize that, right?
Party.
But like in Berkeley, I don't imagine like gun ownership is very popular.
Yeah, it's a pretty like out there.
Is it taboo, like topic almost?
Yeah,
or?
like I'm very like, no, go for it, like get into a girl. But then it's also just kind of like not really, I don't want to say like frowned upon, but just kind of like, whoa, that's a bit much from like someone like me. But I just thought I asked.
Well, I want to encourage you, like, don't let that get to you.
Okay.
Do you identify as a conservative or a libertarian or a liberal? I don't care about
pretty
it.
much on the left.
Okay. But this is an issue where
What'd you
conservative
say?
or libertarian or liberal, I don't care about
pretty
it.
much on the left.
Okay. But this is an issue where you're like,
Yeah, I'm much more like pro gun ownership and like Second Amendment type.
yeah, okay. And that's because of necessity, like basically what happened to you, or just
Yeah, but also just more of like, you know, community defense, I would say.
Sure.
I mean, I don't think people should be like shooting each other on the streets or like dueling. Obviously.
I don't support that, obviously.
I know,
Right,
yeah. But like, it's definitely something that I think that like a lot more like LGBT people should really take into account, just to protect ourselves and like some people.
Yeah, look, I totally agree. Like, I mean, if you believe you're being targeted or you're in a marginalized position, like, that's what the Second Amendment is partially there for, right? I mean, one of the reasons. So.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you because you're like a very big like political person. So
Yeah, I would just kind of take it from a moral argument too, right? Which is like, if you believe, like, who are you going to trust to defend yourself? That's what I would take, right? So it's like, do you trust the police, which obviously is not a big thing around here, right?
Yeah.
Do you trust, like, you know, I don't know, someone that you think will hurt you, then the moral argument of the Second Amendment is that you should be responsible for your own autonomy and your own safety, right? There's other reasons too, but
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
thank you. Appreciate it. Thoughtful.
You are responsible for saving you. Nobody's coming to save you. And I spoke about this previously because I think some people think that, oh no, I don't need a weapon because I'll just call the cops. The cops will be there to save me. And I'm like, we have some great cops, but they don't necessarily prevent crimes. They respond to crimes. Cops can't be everywhere all at once. They aren't omnipresent. They aren't in every single room or every single home at every single moment of the day, you know, just waiting for somebody to break in, you know, through the front door or whatever. Like, no, that's not the case. Sometimes they're many miles away. What happens then? You know what I mean? So like that thought process is pretty flawed. They respond to tragedies. They don't necessarily prevent them. Now, in some cases, they can prevent them, but for the most part, they don't prevent. They respond. So it's up to you to save you. If somebody runs into your house, you better have that great equalizer to defend yourself until the authorities are able to make it there. It's not like the robber or the bad guy's going to say, you know what? I'll wait 15 minutes until the cops get here before I continue. No. They're going to run in, do whatever they need to do within probably less than 60 seconds and be gone. And if that includes taking your life, then so be it. And within that 60 seconds, the cops ain't going to be there unless they were already sitting outside in the first place, which in that case, it may prevent, you know, somebody from running into your house. But why would they be sitting outside your house anyway? You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's up to you to save you. And the way that you save yourself is the Second Amendment. It's part of the reason why we have it, to defend yourself. So yeah, I would encourage that gentleman there to own a firearm safely. Obviously, like Charlie said, it's the great equalizer. But unfortunately, a lot of politicians push this fear thing. You know, high capacity magazines and machines of war, weapons of war. You know, the wording just makes it blatantly obvious what they're, you know, what the intention is when they say some of this stuff. Weapons of war. Goodness gracious, it is crazy. You know, I would love to hear a politician read some of the true statistics about, you know, gun ownership and gun fatalities off. Like how low that percentage is in comparison to how many people actually own firearms. Is it tragic? Of course. Anybody losing their life is a tragic situation, but people lose their lives in cars. We're just gonna throw those away. Get rid of cars. There was a gentleman, I want to say in California, a younger kid who ran over a woman and her child. Just ran them over. Literally pointed the car in their direction. The lady tried to move out of the way. He turned the car and ran them over. We just gonna throw away all cars now? There was a gentleman who ran through a crowd, running people over. I want to say killed a young lady as well. We didn't throw away the vehicles, did we? Of course not. Because having a vehicle doesn't necessarily control a person. Taking away their firearms, now that's a different story. But anyway, y'all let me know what you thought about this one in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, and of course, LGBT community, please arm yourselves. Please. Peace and love. I'm out.